Hey, it's National Volunteer Week in the month of April, and we're going to talk a bit about volunteering on today's show. It should be an important part of all of our lives, I would hope, but especially as you get into retirement, it can play a key role in what you do, how you plan your time, how you spend your money, and more major decisions like that. So we're going to talk all about volunteering on today's episode with John Mears. Stay tuned. We'll get right to it next.
In football, the red zone is where a team has to make small adjustments to ensure victory. As you approach retirement, you also need to make small adjustments to ensure success. This is the Red Zone Retirement Program with registered investment advisor and enrolled agent John Mears of Mears Money Management.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Red Zone Retirement Program. You might notice if you're watching on YouTube, I look a little different than Mark. And if you're listening on an audio app, you're probably like, this doesn't sound like Mark, the usual guy I hear. That's right, because I'm Walter Storholt. I'm filling in for Mark for the next two episodes because John, who's always here, of course, John Mears, our buddy got hit by a hockey puck at a game, and he's out of commission for a little bit. Poor Mark.
Yeah,
I have a picture. We're not going to share it. I'll leave it up to Mark if he wants to make that public. But he got hit pretty hard in the head by a hockey puck, believe it or not. So
yeah,
we gave him the day off.
He'll come back speaking French or something like that. Yeah. So
now wouldn't that be cool? Yeah. Like what was that great movie with was it John Travolta, Phenomenon or something like that? Remember that where he like sees a comet or something, and all of a sudden he becomes a genius. So maybe Mark will come back with a higher
Mark's
IQ.
After a genius. He's going to be answering his own questions. Yes,
that's right. Yeah, all of a sudden he'll be a retirement planner himself.
Yeah. I'll just sit here and nod my head. Yeah, so
yeah, it'll be great.
I hope Mark's going to be okay. But yeah, that had to hurt. Yeah,
he'll have a whole story for you, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm glad to fill in for Mark, and not quite as good looking, but maybe the voice to match him, hopefully.
We're naturally good looking, Walter, so we don't have to worry about that.
No, I can't outclass you guys on the show, as the substitute. I got to take a few pegs down. Well, let's get into the topic today, John, and it's a good one because, I think volunteering is a great discussion no matter where you are in life. We always look for opportunities to volunteer, my wife and I, when we can. And as you get closer to retirement, it becomes even more important, I think. And I'm sure this is something that you feel passionate about yourself, but also have seen a lot of your clients really get excited about in their retirement lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I think volunteering is, we all need to have purpose. And I think a lot of people, when they're working, they feel that is their purpose, for correctly or incorrectly, but they have purpose in their jobs and their work, no matter how mundane the work may be. But that is, that's their friend group. That's where they socialize. That is a large part of their life is their work world. And when you retire, you don't have that same connection. You may still remain friends with them, but it's not the same. So what do you do with your time? Do you just sit around and watch Judge Judy? No, there are some things you need to do to have still some purpose. We always look at church being part of a church. If you're not religious, don't worry about this, but I'm just bringing this up as an example. There's a great place to volunteer. And we're going to be talking about today, using your time and your talents, things like that you can give back to the community once you reach retirement, and really great ways to spend your time. And I'm going to start off with real quickly. People know that I'm a football coach, an old football coach, a really old football coach.
Hey, old football coaches are the best. So
yes, we go old school with a lot of stuff. So I bring this up to a lot of people, a lot of clients that come in, and I tell them, find a thing like this. And I'm going to give you the specific example of what I go through. There's never enough help out there. There really isn't, no matter what charity or no matter what organization you want to help out with. My wife and I help out with a couple of them, but as a football coach, I know that there's never enough people to help. And I'm going to bring up a couple of examples here. The equipment manager, helping out with equipment, helping out with injuries. Now, you don't have to be a doctor. You can just be somebody that can help the trainer that is on campus, monitor stuff. Water. I know that sounds crazy. We need help with water out there. The chain gang, the people that do the chains on Friday nights. Again, this may sound crazy. We have trouble finding people that just kind of hold the chains and just be there for the yard markers and stuff like that. There's so many snack bars. Yeah. I mean, I could go on and on and on. There's so many things just at our local high school. And I would say with almost every high school, there are not enough people. Parents generally don't like to volunteer for this stuff because they want to watch their son play. They want it's very difficult to get them to volunteer for off the field stuff, and it does take time. It does. I can get it. If you're working a 40-hour work week, you don't want to do the equipment as soon as you get home on Wednesday night and Thursday night and Friday night and deal with a bunch of 14-year-old knuckleheads either. So I get that as well. But
hey, don't forget the PA announcer. As a former PA announcer myself,
great example.
Volunteer.
Absolutely. I have oftentimes been up in the booth with the headset on, and then we have the PA announcer. There's usually a stat person there as well. There are so many things that you can volunteer with, and I'm just talking about one sport at a high school. And there could be, we talk about girls soccer, girls volleyball, boys baseball. There's so many things where there's just not, and the way you get involved here, seriously, call the school and just tell them, hey, I want to volunteer. Can I talk to the athletic director? And don't be afraid to go to the school and ask, hey, how can I volunteer? They may ask you to get fingerprinted, or they may have something to do, but usually for the chain gang, they don't need all that. Usually you just, if you're a warm body, you can go out there and they'll teach you what to do. My wife and I also volunteer for a group that's called the Fostering Youth. It's for kids that have aged out of the foster youth system. So once you turn 18, you're really not considered part of the fostering system. And so a lot of these kids don't have anybody to go to talk to. And so the fostering youth organization that we work with, they simply need a mentor, somebody just to bounce ideas off of. It's not like Big Brothers where you have to spend weekends together or anything, but it's simply a mentor where, hey, the kid wants to know, how do I get my oil changed? Oh, I can call this guy or text this guy and he'll help you. A girl may want to know what to do with, how to, buy makeup or do something that she has to do on her own for the first time, by the way. These are usually kids that are 18, 19, 20 years old. They don't know how to lease a car. They don't know how to make a reservation at a restaurant. It's just dumb things sometimes. Oh,
if I counted how many times I called my parents for how do you do between the ages of 18 and 25 or something? I mean, it'd be a very long list of phone calls.
Yes. And so this is an organization that, again, always needs help. It doesn't even take a whole lot of effort to do all this because the kids are living their own lives. And so they really don't need you a lot, but they need just somebody to bounce ideas off of or have, again, that odd question, Walter, you're talking about right there. Like, hey, getting the oil change is a classic. Or, hey, can you help me out? I need to get my car fixed. And they may not know how to go to a mechanic. My youngest daughter's boyfriend had an issue with that recently where he had to go to the mechanic, and I just went with him. That's all. And he's 22 years old. And I just went with him to the mechanic and just said, hey, this is what you need to look out for. This is what you agree with them and don't agree with, and whatever questions you might need to ask at a mechanic, because a lot of people don't know. And not that there's a lot of unscrupulous mechanics out there, but there's a few, and you just want to make sure you keep everything on the up and up for them. So and this just requires time.
Yeah. What an amazing couple of examples there, John. And I appreciate you sharing those both personally and some that you've seen, people that volunteer with and go through. The big takeaway is there's just no shortage of opportunities out there. I think about my folks. They recently retired within the last couple of years, and finding that purpose in retirement was really big for them. They also moved right as they also retired to a totally different state, totally new environment, new home, new community. So volunteering was a way for them, along with the church that they got plugged into, to make new friends, get involved, and start to feel like they're part of that community. And it worked wonders to make them immediately feel ingrained. Yep. And now they volunteer a couple of times a week at their local organization on top of anything they're doing with the church. Dad loves driving. And so he's driving I call it the bread truck, but he's reminded me multiple times, well, we deliver more than just bread. But it's just I just kind of think of it as the bread truck. But he takes food to local communities. They help pack it, one day a week, and then he helps deliver it. And one of the cool ways that he does it, they live on the coast. He actually goes and takes the van onto the ferry, and the ferry drives him over to a small island, and he goes around this small island and makes food deliveries, and then hops back on the ferry and comes back. So he loves it.
And that's a great way to spend time too. It gets them outdoors. It gets them out. It gets you outside. And I think that's one of the things we talk about, even non-volunteering, just activities you can do on your own. We've done another podcast on, just taking walks every day, people, just getting out and doing stuff like that. And so getting out of the living room and getting outside, that doesn't mean you can't relax every now and then, but getting out and volunteering gives you a sense of purpose. And again, even if you were just on Friday nights, I'm going to use football again as an example, and you're working the chains. But it's a lot of action. It gets you, the blood flow going. It's very interesting. There's a lot of electricity in the air. It's just a great environment to be in, and something you can do every Friday night. It doesn't take a whole lot of physicality to do it. It's pretty easy to do. And again, like you're saying with your parents, they're meeting people, they're talking to people, they're getting friends and people you can lean on when you need help. And it's just a great, great opportunity to volunteer. And again, let me emphasize this again. This doesn't take skills. We'll talk about skills here in 2 seconds here.
Yeah.
This just takes time. That's just
all it is, just time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you're sitting there saying, I don't have a talent to share, I don't know what I could give to this equation. I'm not a football coach. How could I help? You've given several examples about how just giving your time moves the needle. But hey, let's turn that page to talent, because hey, that's another way to give your knowledge base, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something that there are so many ways you can mentor using your talent. We use the example of event planning. I know in our area, now we're in a little bit bigger city, but I'm sure this exists in smaller communities.
Sure.
But there are a lot of small business incubators. If you get a hold of the SBA, they will have a lot of opportunities for you to just mentor. I would say younger people, but just not even always younger, but just people that don't know business, and you can kind of. Like me, I'm a reformed accountant, so I can certainly go through a balance sheet and an income statement with somebody. In my career now, people are always asking me when they start up a business what to do, what to look for, what type of software to use. Do I have to use QuickBooks? Can I just use an Excel spreadsheet? These are things that whatever talent area you happen to be in, you can use those skills. Walter, you have skills with audio and visual. There's things you could do out there where you can help do things and volunteer. Again, going back to church, there's a lot.
I help edit and post a couple of church podcast recordings and help give them back to them with a little bit of editing and sound leveling, so that when they put it online, it sounds a little bit better. Things like that.
Yeah, you're going to do it better than this knucklehead here. I wouldn't know how to do it, but it's your talent. We all have different talents, and so I look at whatever skill you may have. Teachers, my wife is a teacher, so there's a lot you can do in the teaching realm as well, where you can volunteer at a much lower level, let's say at a local school, preschools, whatever. There's things you can do again, whatever your particular talent may be, there's things you can do to give back. And again, that gets your brain going and makes you feel like, hey, I'm doing something that I already know I'm good at, and you can use that out in the community.
Yeah, I've kind of thought when I retire one of these days, John, into the future, I would love to do something where I'm giving tours. So I'm still using my talent to like public speaking and telling stories, but then be able to dedicate that time to, I don't know where I would do the tours, but the national park, or maybe something, local libraries or local organizations or museums, those kinds of things. So my wheels are already turning in that direction of like how you could dedicate that time and talent in different ways.
That just brought something up. Just you saying that, Walter, brought up something that I had thought about before recording this. Near us is the Reagan Library, and that is a big place. And there's a lot of, I always joke with my wife, because I'm getting older myself, but there's a lot of old people that work here, but they're everywhere. They're all over the place, and they know, and they're again, that gets them out. And it's a pretty prestigious place there too. It's a nice, it's beautifully built. It's a nice location there. It's in Simi Valley. Those of you out here in Southern California, you kind of know that's kind of a nicer area. And that's again, those kinds of things you can volunteer. The Getty. There are so many things you can do to volunteer at
hospitals.
Yes. If you're not volunteering, it's not because you don't have the ability to do that. It's because you're just not trying. You're making excuses.
Yeah.
So
now there are folks that, let's give them some credit. Hey, time just not a great fit for me right now, maybe in this moment. And maybe the talent, they still feel like they don't have anything to pass on there. Well, there's that third leg of the stool, and that's using treasures to support volunteerism and good things in retirement.
Yes, and this is many of you that are listening or watching this, you have been blessed, and you do have some money that others might not have, and this is an opportunity for you to use that also for volunteering, is helping out with being able to help financially with an entity, and you can be part of. Again, I'm going back to a high school football team, there's a booster club there. You don't have to pour $100,000 into the booster club, but if you can give $1,000, hey, they're looking for nickels in the cushions right now. I can tell you every football program out there. And again, that doesn't even count girls volleyball and girls softball and all the other programs that are, they're always doing fundraisers. They need help. If you have the ability to help prudently, that would be a great way for you to help out. And then that also gets you to be part of that organization as well. So it gives you a great sense of, again, value, because you're helping out again, these organizations. We all think of these, pro teams and college super, programs.
Yeah.
Most of us at the high school level, we're barely scraping by. We barely have money to pay the coaches, seriously. So anything that you can do to help is super, super meaningful. And then we can talk about, to kind of tie this into what we do as a financial planner, qualified charitable distributions and stuff like that, where if you're going to give directly to an organization from your IRA, that will not be taxable. Now, it can't go to you and then the organization, but if you send it we use Schwab as a custodian, straight from Schwab to XYZ, charitable organization, that's not taxable to you. So it's kind of a way of reducing your taxes, your required minimum distributions or something like that. It's a great way to help this organization. And hey, it helps you too a little bit. So it's not a bad way to go.
Yeah, I know we could do a whole podcast just exploring the treasure side of this equation, but we'll save those details for maybe a future show. And also, that's just the kind of thing that you're going to talk about with people when they come in to meet with you, John, and go through the planning process, right? Like, you're talking to them about what's your purpose in retirement? Have you thought about these kinds of things? It may not be a financial conversation the whole time. A lot of it's this softer side of planning. But for sure, you'll talk about those treasure aspects as well, and how can we efficiently pass money down? All that's kind of included in your high level planning, right?
Yes, exactly. We do talk about if somebody comes in and they just and the conversation is just, how much money can you make me? We're not going to be working together.
That's the best fit at that point. Yeah.
Not that returns don't matter. We're not going to say that, but that's not why we're here. We want to know why you need those returns, and we want to know what you're going to be. Again, a little bit of what your purpose is. We don't get too woo-woo on everybody, but we just want to know, hey, what are you trying to get here? What is the purpose of that? And so, we do talk about that when we do planning. The first thing we started is some of the hows and the whys. So that helps me plan so I can help you better.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing your perspective today, John, and some of your experiences in the volunteer world. And I hope our conversation inspires folks maybe to dedicate a little bit more time, maybe a little bit of that talent, or hey, if those aren't options or you want to do all three, some of that treasure as well to something that you're passionate about. And there's, like we said, no shortage of opportunities to help out there. So seek them out. And, or if they have sought you out, listen and maybe respond in a way.
Yeah.
But I love all the details today. So thanks for sharing that with us.
Yes. Yeah. This is a great topic. Thank you. Yeah, it's a really good topic.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us on the show today. If you've got any questions for John, we've got contact information on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. It's also listed in the description of today's show, so it's easy to get in touch if you've got questions about this, if you've never been through the planning process and thought about what is my purpose in retirement, or how do I efficiently pass dollars onto an organization that I care about. These are the kinds of things that John covers, as well as all the other financial planning elements. But it was fun today to dive into this volunteerism discussion. And we'll look forward to talking to you, everybody, next time, right back here on Red Zone Retirement. John, thanks so much. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Walter. It was a lot of fun.
John has a couple of free books, Diffuse and Tax-Free Retirement in California, that reveal exactly how you can experience zero taxes in retirement and overcome the IRS lien on your 401k, IRA, and 403b, which could threaten your future lifestyle. These are complimentary, so all you have to do to pick these up 100% free is just stop by rescuemyretirement.net. That's rescuemyretirement.net. Fill in the basic info and he'll ship those out to you immediately. That's rescuemyretirement.net for a copy of Diffuse and Tax-Free Retirement in California.
Advisory services offered through Mears Money Management, Inc., an RIA registered in the states of California and Texas. California Department of Insurance License number 0685203.